Not every company has both. Not every company is gonna have both a hiring freeze and a layoff. There are some companies that have hiring freezes and don't do layoffs. Now those companies are good companies in my opinion. Hey y'all, this is Tamika, the face behind Heyyy HR, and on this video we're going to talk about hiring freezes versus layoffs. What are we on? We're on like video 4 or 5 of this series, all about layoffs. In this video I'm going to break down the differences between those two and how do they coincide with each other. So if you guys want to know all about hiring freezes versus layoffs, definitely keep watching. So let's first define what these are. With a hiring freeze is when employers stop filling open positions at the company, and that length of time varies and it fluctuates. It could be that they're experiencing a long hiring freeze and continuously not hiring people. It could be that they're only hiring at a certain rate with particular positions. It could be that they're deciding, okay, we're gonna hire this number this month, but this number this month. It could be like, let's see how things are going financially this month, and then we'll decide what we're gonna do next month. There's so many different indicators that cause hiring freezes to fluctuate and to vary. So they're not all the same. Hiring freeze just means that we're pausing with hiring. We're not hiring like we traditionally did, or we're not hiring at all. So let's define layoff. So layoff is a separation from employment due to the lack of work available. Traditionally, layoffs are really happening because a company's not performing financially the way that it predicted, the way that it needed to, the way that it wants to. So if they're not performing that way, then what they'll do is do a layoff to help them kind of cushion the blow of not meeting financial needs by saving on how much money they expend to employees. So that means paying for salaries, paying for benefits, paying for perks, paying for equipment, paying for space. There's so many different things that, okay, we're going to cut off these employees and this is going to save us X number of dollars. Or we're going to change our business scope and now we no longer need this type of work on hand. So we're going to lay off in this area and this is going to help us financially. Now, because we're trying to save money and we're letting go existing employees, maybe employees who've been there for a long time, employees who really brought us some good revenue, employees who've done really well, then guess what? We already not bringing in new people. New people is a gamble. Like, we're hoping we get the best candidate. We're hoping this person performs well. We have no guarantee that they're going to perform well. So obviously we're going to stop bringing in more people because that's even more money we are spending. Let me tell you, hiring freezes and layoffs, they simply go hand in hand. They do. If your hiring freezes help a company to stop spending more money, then obviously your layoffs helps the company to cut expenses. And they're looking to cut expenses nearly immediately. And they just literally go hand in hand. I keep going back to a budgeting example because that's literally what layoffs are based on. If they've budgeted so much money, I know some of these companies make a whole lot of money. So it's like a number we can't even fathom, but it's still a budget. And if the company's not hitting that budget, they're going to look at ways to save that money. It's no different than your personal expenses. If you know that your job is not paying you as much, or you change to another job that's not going to pay you as much, or your income is just not as good as it used to be for whatever reason, then naturally you should be saying, you know what? I really don't need that Starbucks every morning. So I'm going to stop buying Starbucks. You know what? I really don't need my nails done every 2 weeks. So I'm going to stop getting my nails done every 2 weeks. You're just going to cut expenses. It's no different than a company. A company's going to do the same thing. So typically hiring freezes start before layoffs. If you guys have already watched my video about predicting layoffs, then you already know that hiring freezes is an indicator that there's probably going to be a layoff. So hiring freezes, I think, are acknowledged now because people really love these big companies they're working for. When we're talking about Microsoft, we're talking about Google, we're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Twitter. When we're talking about these big brand name companies, Spotify and all these other companies, when we're talking about these big monster companies, so many times this has been our dream job. So, okay, if you don't need me in this position anymore, I'm going to go ahead and apply in this position. Y'all. Now you realize, oh, we're in a hiring freeze. HR is like, well, no, we can't hire you back because we're in a hiring freeze. We're not hiring anyone. You can't be shocked. The whole point in doing the layoff was to stop spending money. Why would I keep spending money if I wanted to stop spending money? Even if it's less money, you're like, well, I'm willing to take a pay cut. No, their plan is to not spend money. They didn't just start this hiring freeze. I'm pretty sure it started before they laid folks off. One thing that's not going to happen is I don't see a company, or very few companies, mainly companies that haven't experienced this before, or like smaller companies, but Like larger companies, their plan is not to bring somebody in and then that person hears in the next 60 days that we're laying off your teammate. Because 9 times out of 10, that teammate was supposed to train you because you're still brand new. Just saying. Now, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. And when you see it doesn't work that way, mainly it's because that company didn't predict the layoff themselves. Or they didn't identify who was going to be laid off yet when they brought you on board. So to help you guys a little bit more with, knowing how they are indicators of layoffs, you can definitely look at my video because I did 2 videos where I talked about this. So I talked about this in Layoff Trends video. I also talked about this in Predicting Layoffs video. Cool. So check out those videos. Those videos go into more detail. And so lastly, we're going to end on this note. Not every company has both. Like not every company is going to have both a hiring freeze and a layoff. Not every company. It's not always. It's not a definite thing. Not every company has one if it has the other. So there's some companies that are laying off that aren't doing hiring freeze. They just really adjusted the way that they're hiring. They might not be hiring at the same pace, but they haven't stopped hiring. There are some companies that have hiring freezes and don't do layoffs. Now, those companies are good companies in my opinion, because the plan is, you know what, I'm not going to bring anybody new on. We're just going to keep folks here so that they can keep jobs. So many times people get upset with those because they're like, well, we need help. We need help. I'm overwhelmed. Well, that's cool if you want to get help, but now you and your help might be without work. Otherwise, you might have to be with a whole lot of work temporarily because we can't bring on somebody else and keep on spending money. So they just don't always go hand in hand. Every company doesn't have both. They're not always in tandem. It really depends on that company's goals, what situations they're facing financially, what problems they're trying to solve financially, on which ones they're going to use over the other. So for those of you who are new, I hope you found some value in this video. I hope I really was able to kind of help clear some things up. My plan is that with my 10 years of human resources experience, being laid off twice, experiencing layoffs from an HR professional twice, that I can be able to provide some value back to you. So if you found value in this video, I hope that you consider subscribing. I will tell you that my plan is to continue this series, and I think I have either 1 or 2 videos left in this series of layoffs. So you're definitely going to catch some value there. At the end of the day, those of you who are returning are just like, y'all the goats. Like, y'all amazing. You're greatest of all time because you keep coming back, and I'm so thankful for it. I literally cannot wait to see y'all on the next video.